Hello and welcome along to your weekly hit of NFL nonsense. This is Utter Punts. What am I working with? Dan, you have to take a finger.
I feel for you all.
You can do that. You'll only lose by 20.
Whoa, what a weekend that was. The Niners lost, the Eagles lost, the Vikings aren't tanking, and the New York Giants didn't get panned. Honestly, someone might need to check the sky for flying pigs or the first signs of frost on Satan's lawn.
It's incredibly boring.
How is that boring?
Carry on.
Shut up, you. If anybody mentions Taylor Swift, it's a straight red card and a 2-pod ban. We got everything right last week.
Yeah, cruised it last week.
Pretty sure I only got one wrong.
Professional, one wrong.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, it's Harry. Brand new intro, awful lot of swearing that we've had to bleep out. Fresh from their trip to North London, the punts are back with us, and Dan caught a pass from Tyler Huntley. You didn't get the toe tap in though, incomplete, out of bounds. Hello, Dan Horton.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. Dave's highlight of the trip was the 36 kilos of chicken wings that he and his friend managed to smuggle away from the capital city. Enjoy yourself in the smoke, Keno.
I did, mate, yeah. Wingman's great restaurant. You should go there.
Not a sponsor. Beautiful work. Plenty to look forward to this week, including the Miami Dolphins at the Eagles and Dave's Vikings on Monday night primetime at home to the Niners. Roll on, primetime, Kirk. We'll preview all of that and much more on the way. In association with endzonekit.co.uk and Captain Deval, this is Utter Punts. Yes, welcome along. Hello, how are you? Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with a friend. Brand new intro. There was some concern from the legal team that maybe we shouldn't be using the commentary anymore, so we've got rid of it and we've put highlights of the show in there, which I think sounds better, if anything, which is great. Dan, Dave, how was Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
Oh, I thought it was incredible. The whole setup was fantastic. Getting off the train, going up to the ground was absolutely brilliant. Everything's signed, but the fans and the amount of, it felt to me like a Ravens home game. There was just hundreds and hundreds of Ravens fans around, and people from Baltimore that had come over for the game. Crowds and crowds, and it was even inside. There was more Ravens fans, so it was great for me. But the atmosphere was just phenomenal, and what struck me was the knowledge of the people around that you're talking to.
Yeah.
Even the English people, the British people, the way that the level of detail they're talking in and about the game whilst the game's being played is phenomenal. It's gone up, certainly. I went in 2017 when the Ravens got smashed by the Jags, and it was not like that. There was people they weren't cheering for the right thing. It was a bit odd and a bit awkward. This was a real sort of high-level, high-intelligent game. It was really good to watch, and it was great to be part of it.
Dave, how did you find it as a non-Ravens fan?
Nah, it was all right. It was a really good day. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a more competitive game than it appeared it was going to be at the beginning, but in the end we called it correctly. The Ravens just had too much for the Titans, so yeah, thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, that Ravens defensive team is absolutely unstoppable at the minute. We'll talk about the Ravens a little bit more later because back on one of the TV games. Look, every point of the podcast, normally at this stage, we look at the thing that's caught our eye in the NFL this week. Dan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, there was quite a lot, but just today, Mecole Hardman's been traded back from the Jets to the Chiefs, and the trade deadline is on the 31st of October, so a week on Tuesday, so not only 2 games left really. So I just kind of thought, what trade would you really like to see that's sort of reasonable? What trade would you like to see happen? And mine is Derrick Henry. So I think the Titans they're garbage. They're done. And they're going to trade away some of their assets. I think if Tanner was fit, I think he'd get traded. But Henry's still got juice. He could still help a team. And I think the Dallas Cowboys could really do with a Derrick Henry. Yeah. Tony Pollard isn't really working. They're not really controlling the game. I think they could get him quite cheap. You're probably looking at maybe a second-round pick. And the Cowboys make a splash. And if the Cowboys want to consider those contenders, I think they need to go make a splash. And Derrick Henry to the Cowboys would be mine. What's yours?
I'll go second. Keno can go last in the vain hope that he's got a more compos mentis answer than I have. I mean, vain hope is probably right. I've gone Devontae Adams, and I think I just think he needs to get out of the Raiders. I think if he stays at Vegas, he's putting his Hall of Fame career at severe risk. He is and continues to be one of the best receivers in the league,
Yep.
but hands down. But he's gone 3 games straight now without a touchdown or 100 yards receiving in any game, and that's the second time it's happened at the Raiders. Happened weeks 13 to 15 last season, and I think on that trajectory, he's really on track to jeopardise what has been otherwise an absolutely fantastic career. I have no idea where he goes. I would have said the Chiefs, but if they've got him for Hardman and they've already got him, then maybe that space is gone. Somewhere has got to have a spot for a receiver with the ability of Devontae Adams. I hope he manages to get out, and I hope that he goes somewhere to make a big difference. Dave?
Fair shout.
What I want to happen is
To the Jets.
I want the Atlanta Falcons to realise that they've got a very, very good squad, but it's probably not going to be competitive with their current quarterback, and to make overtures to a certain Kirk Cousins, who does have a no trade clause, but at the same time, his wife's family are all from Georgia, and all voting by US geography is not perfect. Pretty sure Atlanta's in Georgia.
No, that's good. Yeah, you've done well. Yeah.
Yeah, just for a moment there, I was worried. So it's potentially something that would be viable, but it's not going to happen. What I would say is this: if the Vikings lose to the 49ers, then we probably will be trading some players, and I think that the actual Ravens could potentially get a steal if they came and knocking for Daniil Hunter from the Vikings for maybe a third-round pick. Even but he's out of contract at the end of the season, so you might even be able to get him cheaper. But a bit of pass rush there. Alternatively, Jacksonville might need him. I think Daniil Hunter is potentially a very viable trade option for an awful lot of teams who need pass rush help. So we'll see.
So there you go. You heard it here first. Keno wants Kirk Cousins on the midnight train to Georgia ASAP.
Beautiful.
I can't claim credit for that terrible. In fact, I'm going to go one stage further. For that shit joke, it belongs entirely to Andy Bell, the producer of this epic. Dave, what have you spotted in the NFL? What did you want to talk about?
Poor Anthony Richardson, injured reserve, potentially out for the rest of the season now, having surgery on his throwing shoulder. And really, it became relevant. I recently did a review of QBs, and I said that Bryce Young was probably a little bit not durable enough for the NFL. And Anthony Richardson is now out for the season with an injury to his shoulder. I think Dr. Stutterman on YouTube does a good breakdown. I'll not bother. There's an awful. There's a big old gap at the Colts right now. Gardner Minshew stepping in, forthcoming of Gardner Minshew, who's had many an opportunity elsewhere. I love watching him play. He reminds me of Case Keenum, but on some form of steroids. Not that I'm accusing you of that, mate. Just so you know, so
legal team now.
Just very, very quickly. Poor Anthony Richardson out for the rest of the season, and I think many Colts fans are possibly having flashbacks to Andrew Luck, who such a talented player who came to an end there far too early in his career, had to retire due to ill health, fell out of love with the game because he was getting banged up too much, getting asked to go back in. I think on this occasion it does appear that they've learned, and they are at least wrapping Richardson up in cotton wool, getting him the surgery that he needs, and hopefully he'll be back. But it is a little bit worrying, particularly when you look at the list of Florida Gator quarterbacks who have graced the NFL. Tim Tebow being one. There aren't many who have been successful, but I don't think there are many who've had his talent. So I'm hoping he comes back.
I mean, he's only played 6 quarters of six weeks.
Yeah.
So 2 concussions and a shoulder injury, then a shoulder injury again. So they need to sort of wrap him up. But even when he comes back next year, he's only going to be 22.
That's
so
true.
He's got plenty of time. And what you say is right, Dave. I think they've learned a lesson. They rushed Luck back far too often, and far too before he was ready. And I think they're just taking the view that this guy is the future of the franchise, and they're not going to take that risk with him in a team that isn't probably going anywhere this year anyway.
I think that's probably right. Right, so I've decided that I've not come up with a piece of news, but instead I'm going to play a game.
Okay,
we're going to play a game, and I know how much you love playing games.
Rebel.
So I saw this this week, and it's a blind It's a blind ranking game. So essentially, you have 5 slots free. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 1 slot down to a number 5 slot. I come up with a topic and then give you 5 things underneath that topic. You just have to rank them in the order from worst to best.
You're really deep.
Randomly.
So you're going to say
look,
really bad one, aren't you?
What I would say is I'm just going to turn this screen this way so
I wouldn't cheat.
he can't see what's going on.
I can't.
Who wants to go first, Dave or Dan? Let's go Dan.
Okay.
We'll go Dan first, okay?
Right. Yeah.
So you've got 5 slots open currently.
Okay.
Your subject is current NFL wide receivers.
Oh, okay. That's
Okay.
friendly. Yeah, we
so
haven't got any, so that's fine.
so you've got to rank them from who you think is the best to who you think is the worst.
Yeah.
So your first name is Devontae Adams. Which slot are you putting in? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
He's the best receiver in the league.
So you're going number 1 for Devontae Adams and leaving yourself no room.
Yeah, he's the best receiver in the league.
Okay. Jamar Chase, number 2.
5.
Wow. Straight to 5. Stephon Diggs.
Plays for the Bills. We like him. 3.
Okay, so 3 for Stephon Diggs. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Playing the Ravens this week. 4.
4.
Yeah, not as good as his
Do you
brother.
know, I think he may have done pretty well here because your 5th choice is Justin Jefferson.
I'll take him too because he's a... So one leg it goes second.
I tell you what, how do you feel about your ranking?
I'm having that.
I think you've done pretty well.
Yeah.
I think you've done pretty well.
Yeah.
Dave, would you like to know what your subject is?
One of the quarterbacks, isn't it, Liam?
It certainly is, Dave. It's going to be...
I can sense the trap.
It's going to be Minnesota Vikings quarterbacks is what it's going to be. So we're looking at starting Minnesota Vikings quarterbacks over relatively recent history. And you've got slots 1 to 5 currently open. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So your first one is Sam Bradford.
3.
Flashbacks.
Okay. Sam Bradford going in at 3. Your second choice is Brett Favre.
Only 1 season before my time. This is my ranking, right?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
Put him at 5.
Okay, Brett Favre's going at 5. Wow. I've no idea. Dante Culpepper. Right, you understand that this is a podcast and you need to speak, right?
First.
Oh, he's put Dante Culpepper at first.
Well, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, the question is, how sneaky have I been? The 4th name out of 5 that I'm going to give you is Randall Cunningham. So which slots have you got open? 2 and 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4.
Okay, Randall Cunningham goes in at number 4. The final name on your list. What do you think I've gone with?
Oh, I'm disappointed to see Teddy not there. Oh, I think you've gone with Kirk Cousins, don't I? Because that's what you do.
I've actually gone with Teddy Bridgewater.
No. Get in.
Yeah, except you've lost your number 1 slot, which, as the founding member of the Teddy Bridgewater Appreciation Society.
Again, though, like Dante Culpepper is he's a cult hero. I deliberately took the 1 spot out of play just in case Kirk popped up. But, yeah.
Beautiful work. Right, we'll do a couple more of these games, I think, as we go forward. If you've missed any of that, it will be available for you on YouTube a little bit later on. Don't forget, like, subscribe, tell a friend. That's what it's all about. You've got to pass us on. You've got to tell people that you've enjoyed it. It's absolutely brilliant. After this... Did it? I can't hear anything. It's weird.
I had that.
Did you? My headphones have gone. Somebody just checked they're still plugged in.
I can hear it.
That was weird. I can't hear a thing. I can hear Dave.
I can hear you.
Can you?
Yeah, I can hear everything through here.
I think this is our best content.
I mean,
So Bell's done on purpose.
I don't know how this is. I don't really know how this is working because I can hear Dave, but I can't hear anybody else through the clever mixing. Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll carry on, shall we? This is Utter Punts, and we are talking about the stock market game because
you can't hear, I can.
Yeah, but I now have no control over my volume, so the rest of you are screwed for the next 50 minutes or so. Do we want to do the stock market game, or are we leaving it be this week? I mean,
It's looking better for me.
Yeah, marginally, you're a point better off than you were last week. I'm 2 points better off than I was last week, and Dan's a point worse off than he was last week.
It's starting to fall apart.
Closing the gap.
The empire's crumbling.
But still has a 38-point lead on anybody else. If you've missed out on what the stock market game is, don't worry. We will update you again in the future, but you can also go back and listen to some of the previous episodes. Before we go any further, just a mention for endzonekit.co.uk, who we do these podcasts in association with, and they are having the time of their lives at the minute. Absolutely belting, because Simon from Endzone Kit got himself
to reveal his identity. Isn't it like Batman?
I think we did it last week. I think we've already outed him, haven't we?
I don't think you can. I don't know.
Well, it's too late. It's done now, isn't it? I've already said it.
Out in Captain Duval.
Captain Duval, head to toe, dressed as a Jaguar.
him.
And look, he made such a splash at the UK games. They've invited him over, Dan.
Yeah, the Jags have invited him over as their lucky charm, and he's currently, if you can follow him on Instagram, Captain Duval, he's all around New Orleans having pictures with fans. Jason and Travis Kelce were talking about him today.
on New Heights.
On New Heights.
Wow.
So he's put that out there as well. I mean, fair play to him. I mean, he goes full out, and it's such a good character that he plays. But it just shows the intensity that he's had for the English game, for the game being over in the UK. And fair play to him. It's great that we're making that connection.
Yeah,
and great for them. They deserve it. Nice people, and great football fans.
Brilliant people.
Good stuff. Don't forget, if you use the code PUNTS at checkout from endzonekit.co.uk, it'll give you 15% off at checkout on top of any of the other offers.
We know his real identity.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, good stuff. More on the way on Utter Punts. We're going to do a preview of the TV games for the next week after this. Anyway, I'm assuming that jingle's finished. I can't hear anything still, so we'll just carry on, shall we? Detroit Lions at Baltimore Ravens is our first game, 6 o'clock on Sunday, M&T Bank Stadium. All of a sudden, I can hear things again. I don't know have you pressed buttons, Producer Bell? Oh, I see what he's done.
The on button, that's cool. Yeah.
He's turned my headphones off without knowing what's going on. It made me look like a plank.
Because he's in his hair.
Yeah, no, anything to throw me under the bus. Right, let's start again. Detroit Lions at Baltimore Ravens, 6 o'clock game on Sunday. Is this one the game of the week? I think it might be.
Do you know, I looked at this slate of TV games, and I think this is the best slate of TV games.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you've probably got the Super Bowl here with the Lions, the Eagles, the Niners playing from the NFC, and the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Chiefs playing from and the Bills playing for the AFC. I don't think there's a Super Bowl that takes place this year that's not got one of the two of those teams in it. So they're fantastic matchups, and it could be a playoff weekend. So fantastic games, fantastic matchups, first of all. And this is a belter because, the talk will probably be the Ravens defense, Lions offense. But and they'll probably cancel each other out a little bit, although when you're relying on defense these days, it's tough because at some point somebody puts too many points and you have to catch up. But it would be really nice to see this Ravens offense put under the pressure where they have to do that.
Yeah,
because everything's been very, very straightforward for them. And on Sunday they kept it very tight, very restrained. They didn't open up the playbook really at all. They got down to the 20. They didn't do anything rash. They kept hold of the ball and they kicked field goals. Actually, they'll win many games doing that.
Yeah.
I just don't think they'll beat the Lions doing that. So we're going to have to see the Lions defend the run, which they haven't done particularly well. The Ravens will run the ball, and we're going to have to see the Ravens really open up the playbook on offense. So I think we're going to see an absolute belting game.
Well, this is really interesting, Dave, because it looks like David Montgomery's actually doubtful from the injury that he picked up, which means it's going to force Jared Goff into throwing the ball. He's got so few options now with the running game. He is going to have to move that ball. The Ravens defense is ranked top 3 in the NFL this season, 24 sacks so far. And they're not blitz happy, Dan, either. They don't blitz every play. Dave, this could be a really interesting head-to-head, couldn't it?
It could well be. I had a look at the injury reports earlier, and both teams are quite banged up, but it does look to me like the Ravens are a little bit healthier. You've got Humphries playing again. I thought he might be doubtful, but it looks like he's a full participant in practice. So I think the edge does go to the Ravens. They're also at home, and the Lions, without that being able to go to that run game, they could be lacking a little bit, but Jahmyr Gibbs is back, and he's been out for the past couple of weeks with an injury. So the timing for him coming back is good for them. I think the primary battle here is going to be your defense against the rest of their offense. But I also do think that Lamar has to open up a little bit. He wasn't taking certain throws on at the weekend, and it was a little bit surprising. What I would say is the good news is Odell Beckham Jr. was getting open a fair bit. I was having to watch. He was right along the sideline in front of me, and he was definitely getting himself open. So I think the opportunities are there, but I do think I think the Ravens are favourites. It's just very close, and the Detroit Lions are so well coached as well now with Dan Campbell and Mr. Johnson there as their offensive coordinator, pretty much scheming up some of the best stuff in the league outside of maybe the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think what we've said all along is if you let Jared Goff throw the ball and give him time, he'll take it to bits, and I think he'll put yards up and he'll put points up, but he won't get that time against Baltimore. Because they're getting pressure with 4. You said before they're not blitzing. They're not. Patrick Queen comes now and again. Chuck Stone comes down now and again, but very rarely. They're rushing with 4, and the sacks are coming from the front 4, which is impressive. But the back end is weak again. So Marcus Williams, the safety, came back on Sunday and then got injured as they were blocking for returning the interception. I don't think he's playing, and he's a big loss because he's such a good player. You could see that on Sunday. It was really good to watch him controlling, especially Kyle Hamilton. He was showing him where to go and moving him around, and players like him and Roquan Smith. But for me, I worry about the middle of the Ravens defense because everything that the Titans did was behind them. So players like Sam Laporta will have a big game. Amon-Ra St. Brown and these crossing routes, he's going to torture these Ravens, and I'm a bit worried about it, to be honest.
It's interesting because I've written down 2 things here. Sam Laporta could be huge, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best in the NFL this season. And you've just mentioned both of them without me having to do it. Add on to that Jared Goff last week was 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 107 rating. It's interesting. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you both about is that Lamar Jackson isn't running anywhere near as much as we've seen him off plan. Okay, and I specify off plan here because there are still built plays in that playbook that are specific for Lamar to go wandering. Is it a conscious thing, Dave, that they're looking after him a little bit more? They're just trying to keep him on the field, keep him healthy?
Well, what's the point in having him wear himself down at the start of a very long season? I think it's sensible. They're doing enough to win. The only thing I would say is where I think there is an edge between the teams strongly towards the Lions is their O-line. That's why I'm intrigued to see if you can still get pressure rushing so few. I think that's a key battle. I think Lamar, if they need it, Lamar can run. And if they see the Lions as being a potential threat in the playoffs, maybe they would. But they're in different conferences. So I don't think you'll be getting the full unfettered Lamar against the Lions because I don't think there's that much strategic point in it at this point of the season, but I still think they're going to have enough. I just think it'll be a very close game because of the injuries on the Lions and the whole sort of the way the Ravens have been winning.
Picks o'clock then. Who are you going with?
I'm going for the Lions.
You're going for the Lions?
Yeah, I think they're going to have too much. And the other player to watch that I was going to mention is Jameson Williams. So Jameson Williams was their high draft pick last year, the rookie wide receiver, and he was injured. They didn't rush him back. He came back. I think he's only caught 5 passes in his career, and I think 2 of them are 40-yard touchdowns.
Vikings.
He's a speed merchant, and they've been. He was suspended the first 6 games of this year for gambling in the facility. That was reduced to 4 games, so he came back a little bit early, and they've just been bringing him in and bringing him in and bringing him in. And I think with a weak secondary, his speed, if St. Brown and Laporta cover the middle of the field, he's going to be free, and I think it's his breakout game, and it scares me to death.
Oh, that's interesting. Who are you going with, Dave?
I can see where you're coming from, Dan, but I'm still going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah.
I think you'll have too much at home. I think the crowd will get involved as well. And I do think that they're going to be missing their run game. I'm not sure you're going to be able to stop their short passing game because of that battle between the O-line and the defence, but I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball at will on you, but I think you will be on them. So we'll see. But watch out for Hutchinson. He's a great player.
Yeah.
I am going with the Ravens. They're at home, and I'm not sure that the Lions have come up against a properly solid defensive line yet this season. So I think that might be enough to tip the scales.
Beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Again, a properly solid defensive line.
No, it's fair. It's one of those games go either way. Absolutely could go either way. I'm just a bit nervous.
And that's fine. You're allowed to be. It's your team. Next game up, LA Chargers at Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. This feels like a straightforward divisional game for me. 5 wins straight for Kansas City. Mahomes has gone 270 plus yards in 4 of the last 5 games. And LA are the second worst in the NFL for points allowed to wide receivers. Maybe if Kansas City can get the wide receivers actually stitching back-to-back games together where they perform, they might just stick an awful lot of points on the Chargers here. Dave, what do you make of the game, mate?
It's going to be a great one. I'm not sure it's going to be a high-scoring shootout because I don't think that the Chargers offense has got enough of a run game at the moment, unless Ekelori's back and firing on all cylinders again, which when he's on, he's on. That could be a game changer. If they can go off to a fast start and start using that run game to control the clock, who knows where it could end up. But I think it'll be close. It is Arrowhead, and as you say, they've beaten 5 times in a row. But the streaks have to come to an end at some point. I'm just a little bit worried for the Chargers because they didn't come out of last weekend with a victory when I felt like they had every opportunity to. It'll be a high octane game, but might not be as much quality as you'd expect to see with the talent that is available. Just simply because they don't neither team have particularly fired 100% so far this season, and I do worry for the coaching of the Chargers. So I think I'll go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. I don't think it'll be high scoring because I think the Chiefs' offense is still really trying to find itself. The fact that they're 5-1 is scary because you presume they'll figure it out, but they're not playing well and they're not scoring the points, and they're winning the game by really possessing the ball and playing good defense. Their defense is their best unit at the moment, which is a rare thing to say for the Andy Reid Chiefs, but it's absolutely the case. I mean, the game last week, the Broncos, was it 19-8 or something? I mean, it was terrible, but they couldn't move the ball. The Chiefs, they couldn't get the ball, and that's against the Broncos defense that just gave up 70 points. I mean, they're not exactly a vaunted defense. So I think at some point the Chiefs are going to come up against a team that gets up early on them, and I don't think they're going to have the skill to. I don't think they're going to have the firepower to come back, and I think it might be the lesson they need. We saw the Eagles and Niners get beat this weekend. I think it's taught them both a lesson, and I think sometimes a loss can be a good thing. I think the Chiefs need to lose to sort of learn that they're not quite where they need to be. I like the Chargers.
Do you?
I think Travis Kelce's killed them enough with sort of overtime touchdowns, and I think he's got his hands full. So I don't think it happens from this week. I think the Chargers get up maybe 21-3 or something, like just out the gate early. Maybe. Keenan Allen's playing lights out.
Look, the out and out is that if you score more than 24 points against this Kansas City team, you win the game. Yeah. Because at 4 out of 6, I think, they've not scored more than 24 points. They've been tremendously low scoring. However, that being said, I'm going to back Kadarius Toney to do back-to-back brilliant weeks and put some yards on. So I'm going Chiefs at Arrowhead.
You're brave.
Miguel Hardman's back.
He is, and he knows the offense.
That could be a little difference maker there. And also Joey Bosa does appear to be pretty banged up. But
he's always injured, isn't he?
Yeah.
Darren Anderson of NFL football.
The Lewis Sahar of NFL football.
Sick note.
Right, cool.
Dave, who are
you going with?
Well, I'm going to go with Chiefs.
Fair.
Absolutely fuming.
Mahomes at Arrowhead, yeah, of course. You're going to win more games than loses, but there's something about this rivalry. I think the Chargers are on one, and I think they're going to do it at a time when you expect them not to. By now,
I think that's fair. I still got Dan's advice ringing in my ears from earlier on this season, which said never bet against Mahomes.
Fair.
So I'm not. I think this might be my pick of the games. This next one, it's Dolphins at Eagles. Yeah. It's a Super Bowl preview, isn't it? The way things are going, these two could easily be there.
They could, absolutely. They could easily be there. They haven't played anybody yet. So now we'll find out how good they are, won't we? Because when the Dolphins have played. Who the Dolphins played? They've played the Giants, the Cowboys. They've played the Patriots, the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Giants.
Yeah, okay.
So them teams got 3 wins between them.
Yeah.
And then they played the Bills and got absolutely strangled.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But the Eagles haven't played anybody either. And they're about to go into a bit of a gauntlet with. They play the Dolphins, then they play the Cowboys, Commanders, Bills, Chiefs, Niners, Cowboys again. So the Eagles are about to go into their toughest part of their schedule, and so the Dolphins. So this is a fantastic game to watch because what a clash of styles, Dave.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge clash of styles. Absolutely right, Dave. Sorry, mate. You threw to Dave, and I just trampled all over the back of you there, didn't I? Yeah, no, I think you did. You did really well, and I've just taken a massive dump over what you did. Dave, do what he says, yeah.
No, fair enough. It's the Eagles, isn't it? I mean, like, I was so glad that they lost over the weekend, but like, I'll just throw it out there. Like, I do hate the Eagles, but it comes from a place of jealousy. I'm fully self-aware of it. Like, they are an exceptional team. I'll get more into that later on, I think. But I want the Dolphins to win. I just think they're fantastic to watch, but it is a valid point. They haven't played anyone, and the only team that came up against who is going to be a definite playoff team was the Bills, who did strangle them. So, all in all, do I go with my heart or my head?
Heart.
Bloody Eagles are going to win, aren't they?
I've got some stats for you. Tyreek Hill currently leads the NFL in receiving yards per game, receiving touchdowns, and yards per catch. Tua Tagovailoa leads the league in touchdown passes, passing yards per game, rating, yards per attempt, yards per completion, and got 3 touchdowns last week with a rating over 125. Okay.
Amazing what a bit of jiu-jitsu can do for you in the offseason.
Yeah, look.
Against the Broncos pads it a bit.
All of those stats are there as an illustration of how do you deal with this offense. And it feels to me like the way to do it is to slow Tua Tagovailoa down. If you can stop him getting the ball off as quickly as he does, you stand a chance. Now, this is where the next stat comes in really handy, and that's the Eagles' defense. They rank 5th for sacks and 2nd for quarterback hits so far this season. If anybody is going to get close to Tua, it's the Eagles, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the way that the Patriots slowed the Dolphins down. The Dolphins won the game, but the Patriots slowed them down by just getting in his face. They just put really big men on the line, which is all the Patriots can do these days, really. They just stand still. And they made it really difficult. And the Bills did exactly the same thing. They did exactly the same thing, and they took away the middle of the field. Now, the Eagles can certainly do that. Their defensive line is the best in football. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know if Jalen Carter's fit. They've got a few. Is he back now? So, and Hassan Reddick was back last week, and Darius Slay's back on the back end of the defense. They're starting to get healthier, which is just petrifying. And they'll be. I think the Eagles will just run the ball on Miami. I think they'll just take the ball away from them completely. The way you slow him down is you don't let him on the field.
Yeah.
And I can see sort of 4 to 5, 8, 9-minute drives of 15 plays, even if they get in field goals, and they just take the wind out of the ball. And the Eagles have got the ability to do that, and I think they will. That's what a championship team does. And until the Dolphins prove it, the Eagles are the championship team.
So you're going with
the Eagles all day.
Dave?
In order for the Dolphins to have a chance in this, Fangio's going to have to do something a little bit more than sitting off in a shell. He's going to have to find ways of taking Hurts off his game. I just think they're going to run the ball on him the whole time. It's the Eagles for me.
Fangio, actually, this is a good point. Fangio was supporting the Eagles' defense last year. He wasn't actually defensive coordinator, but he was in the Eagles' facility coaching their defense.
Oh, wow.
And now he's the defensive coach for the Dolphins. But what you can do, and what you've always been able to do against a Fangio offense, is run the ball. And this is the Eagles.
Yeah.
And not only that, I saw a quote from Fangio where a journalist asked him, did spending time with the Eagles last year, is that going to give you guys a competitive advantage? And Fangio basically turned around and said, no, if anything, the advantage will be theirs, because he spent all of his time trying to distill how he builds the defense to them. So, yeah.
All right, good stuff. I'm going Dolphins.
Good on you.
they've got to prove it against somebody.
Yeah, why not?
And why not?
I really
Tell you
want
what,
them
if they
to.
win,
I
it'll be a
really
belting
do.
game.
I think they're great.
Belting game though, either way.
I think Waddle's brilliant. I think Mostert's brilliant. I think Tyreek Hill is almost unplayable. And, Tua needs a breakout game, and maybe this is the one against big opposition. It might be more hope than judgment, that, just not. So we're all aware. Right, on the way on Utter Punts, we're going to do a bit of Coaching Corner, and we'll preview the rest of the games, plus our Utter Punts of the week on the way as well, before we get to the end of the programme, all coming up after this. Right, okay, before we go any further, we've already mentioned endzonekit.co.uk, but they are a wonderful bunch, and we've made a lovely little audio segment for you to listen to. Here it is. Utter Punts is proudly sponsored by one of the best kit suppliers out there, Endzone Kit. Endzone is a transatlantic company whose mission is to make finding kit a little bit easier and a little bit more affordable, so you can represent your favourite American sports teams. Whether you're looking for NFL, college football, baseball, hockey or basketball memorabilia, Endzone's got you covered. With sizes from newborn up to 3XL, anyone can find something at endzonekit.co.uk. And one of the things that we love is that they have a whole range of retro and pre-loved gear, so you can rock your vintage style while supporting your team. So why not head to endzonekit.co.uk and find yourself a bargain. And because you listen to Utter Punts, you can have a 15% discount at checkout when you use the code PUNTS. endzonekit.co.uk, the place to go for your American sports kit. I'm waiting because last week I trampled all over the back of that and I didn't want to do it again this week, and I think I'm clear, so we're good. Right, Coaching Corner time, ladies and gentlemen, and touchback. That's what we're going with. I would like to say that this wasn't my idea. This was sent in by a listener. His name's Dave Keane, so he gets to go first. You all right, Dave?
Yeah, it's like, so basically the touchback rule. I'm going to let Dan explain that.
Oh, great.
He put it so succinctly earlier.
This is lateral to
He
Horton.
summed it up, and I don't want to steal his words for him. It's just the rule I hate the most, and there's this particular nuance with it, which is when I hate it, where...
Do you want us to come to you second once Dan's explained it?
Yeah, I mean, I've no idea why you gave it to me first when Dan's much better at this than me anyway. I mean, come on, Liam.
I like to watch you squirm.
Well, I'll do the first bit, and then Dave can do the bit that's really shit, the shit part. There's two parts to this rule. And the first part of the rule is really good, and we spoke about kickoff returns last week. Interestingly, at the Titans-Ravens game, the guy called for a fair catch and fumbled it. I thought, it was handy, wasn't it? So a touchback is if you're receiving a kick or a punt, and the ball bounces in the end zone, touches the end zone, goes out the back of the end zone, it's a touchback. So you'll see sometimes receivers about to catch the ball, they'll step in front, it'll hit the end zone, so they don't have to catch it, and the offense will just start at the 25. Okay, so touchback is normally you see it from kickoff. Justin Tucker's the king at it. He boots the ball through the post, so no one can return a kick, because they are dangerous. So if you keep the ball out of play and you keep them on the 25, it's sometimes a good way to keep control of the ball. However, there is a second part of this touchback rule that is absolute nonsense, and it's the worst rule in football for me, and one that needs to be changed. And I think will be changed next year. Dave, what happens?
So the rule is, if an attacker fails to maintain possession of the ball as they are attempting to cross the line, so essentially fumble it forwards, if it goes out of play after it's gone over the goal line, it becomes a touchback. So suddenly an offense goes from having had an exciting attacking play and someone strenuously attempting to score the touchdown, and it goes straight from that to, the defense now gets the ball.
It becomes a turnover, basically.
So if you fumble it a yard out of the end zone, and it rolls into the end zone and out of play,
it's a touchback.
It's a touchback to the opposite. So it's an immediate turnover.
Yeah, if you fumble it out and it goes in front of the pylon, out at the one, the offense get the ball at the one. Yep. But if it goes behind the pylon, the defense get the ball at their own 25.
So if it misses the pylon by an inch, it's offense's ball. If it touches the pylon, it's defense's ball on the 25.
Yeah. turnover.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not even a hard thing to fix because all you have to do is change the rules to say if you fumble it through the back of the end zone, you lose the down and go back to where the play started.
Well, I think everybody would agree that's a sensible thing to do.
That's the proposition. Yeah.
Dave, that might be the most sensible thing that you've ever suggested on Utter Punts, and therefore I've just changed my Utter Punt of the Week nomination to Dave Bean.
Again.
E-E-N-E. Right, on to the second set of previews. I don't think there's any point in hanging around on Coach's Corner this week. Don't forget, like, subscribe, tell a friend. If you're listening to this, you can subscribe to us on any of the platforms where you get your podcasts, whether that's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, wherever it is. If you're on YouTube, there is a button in the bottom corner. It's, as you're looking at the screen, it's the bottom right-hand corner. I can't remember which side it is because my arms are back. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just hit like, and it's this side apparently, according to producer Bell. This side. So if you, in fact, if I point like that, it's probably closer. Anyway, just hit that button, get you subscribed to all of the Utter Punts content as it comes out. Be lovely to have you along. On to the second part of our previews, gentlemen. The San Francisco 49ers, who lost their O last week at the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, it's primetime Kirk, ladies and gentlemen. Primetime Kirk Cousins. Dave Keane.
Great news for the tank.
You're not tanking. You won last week.
I know. The thing is, we only won because we've like our defense managed to pick up a fumble and then take it to the house. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's not as though a much vaunted offense is doing much with Justin Jefferson. He's obviously on injured reserve. And our quarterback apparently was the third best quarterback in the entire league last week, according to Pro Football Focus. So awesome. Trade for him. Somebody trade for him. Offer him a farm. But yeah, so
can he still have Tuesdays off, David?
On that midnight train to Georgia.
Mate, maybe like he's so good that should give him like 2 days in the week off. Yeah, I think we might lose. Let's put it like that.
Every Vikings game this season has been decided by 8 points or fewer, right? Every game has been every game has been close, and the Niners are potentially without both Deebo Samuel and Run CMC. Yeah. You could win this, Dave. You could win it.
I don't want us to. No, I really like. So I am, believe it or not, the kind of Viking fan who many Viking fans hate. In that I am obviously hoping for the tank, but I'm doing it not for the same reasons. It's not an emotive reaction. It's not. It's
bollocks.
6 years of having to put up with a man who. Would you follow him into battle, Liam? Would you follow him into battle, Dan?
If I was paid an NFL salary, I would 100% be following him into battle.
But you wouldn't be doing it with your heart thumping, knowing that you have someone there who'd die for you, would you? You'd be doing it thinking, yeah, like Kirk will make sure I get paid statistically, maybe, after he's looked after himself. Anyway, don't let me talk about the Vikings. You know you hate it.
Oh, no.
You set me up on one. I mean, you've done it deliberately this week. You've been provoking it. Is it because I was too nice last week? I apologise. I've been.
Don't say that word. Don't.
My back went over the weekend.
I saw the word that flashed across your face then, and that is an absolute no. We can't use that word. All right.
I didn't say a word.
No, but you nearly did. Right. Let's come to Dan for a little bit more of a sensible view at this. Look, Deebo and Run CMC both potentially injured and out of this one. Purdy comes into it off his worst NFL start. Only 125 yards, touchdown, interception, and a 55 rating. This is an opportunity for the Vikings to try and put some pressure on the Niners, isn't it?
It's an opportunity for them to try to, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that Browns defense. I mean, the Niners should have won the game last week.
Yep.
So they got outplayed from start to finish, and they should have won the game. They missed a 41-yard field goal. Otherwise, we're not talking about it. And that Browns defense. Listen, the Ravens put 28 points on them in week 3, but they're saying this is statistically the best defense since 1971. In an era where Dave says
the best Browns defense,
the best NFL defense since 1971 statistically, this Browns defense is mean, right? And if you take that Ravens game out of it, no one scored double figures on them. No one can score points on them. And that team, yes, that caused San Francisco problems. That team causes everybody problems. And it's a really good test for the 49ers. That Browns defense is mean. This Vikings defense is not. I mean, it's literally like... No. And for that lesson, you know, for that from going from one to the other, I think it's the... And I think, you know, they should rest Debo. And I think they should rest McCaffrey. They've got is it Jeffrey Mason and Elijah Mitchell? They've got
two really good running
backs.
Well, Jeffrey Mason.
I think McCaffrey will play. I think he's keen to make a point that he is robust. I think it's a rib injury, and I think he can play with it. And I think they'll just use him. And they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. But I think they will, because I think, you know, they've been leaving him in games fourth quarter when they've been 3 scores up. So
does it not say the world about Christian McCaffrey though, that he gets hooked to go for a scan or whatever it is, and he sprints off the field, he sprints down the sideline, he sprints down the tunnel, and I thought to myself, he's not, you know, that's him all over, isn't it?
Yeah.
I might be injured, I'm not going to show that I'm injured, and that's what sets him apart from other running backs in the NFL at the moment.
From many
Team
players.
America.
Yeah, I mean, I just
Team America, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. For me, there's players that you root for in the NFL, and whoever he plays for, McCaffrey, I think he's a player that you never hear really anybody say anything bad about him.
No, I think I made this point, didn't I, a couple of weeks ago?
He's a player you root for, and everyone wants to see him do well. And thank God he's with a decent team, you know, because now he's getting the sort of, he's able to be on a successful team and maybe go and win a championship. This 49ers team are going to absolutely wipe the Vikings off the face of the earth.
I'm going Niners.
Yes, 100%.
Niners.
I mean, I'll give you 20 points.
Yeah,
Honestly,
take it.
I'll give you 20 points.
Dave,
You're going Niners. He's going Niners. I'm going to go
Niners.
Honestly, we're going to end up 4-4 because it's the Vikings. We're never going to be able to draft a quarterback. It's our curse. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Have we got like a sad violin song? I don't think we have. It's a shame, really.
Playing well, Dave. Addison's playing well.
Yeah, but he's too small. He'll be injured soon.
Move on.
Just so sad, isn't he? Oh, I almost feel sorry for him.
Give me another one. Who else has played well?
No, that's as close as we're going to get, and we'll leave it right there. On to Thursday night football, because as I've explained on numerous occasions, we look at the following Thursday night because we release on a Thursday night. It'd be pointless us looking at this Thursday night because we looked at this Thursday night last Thursday night. So clear as mud. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Buffalo Bills. Buffalo struggling a bit. It feels like Buffalo are struggling a bit. Should have absolutely panned the Giants. Didn't get anywhere near it.
No, I think sometimes you come into games and you're expected to win and it's difficult. And I think the Giants played incredibly well, especially on defense. They were absolutely brilliant on the first half, and then their coaching let them down.
Yeah, look, I'm sure there's more of that coming up as well.
But the Bills did enough, and they showed their class at the end to come through and win that game, because a lesser team doesn't win that game. They lose it 9-6 or whatever. So, I think the Bills are doing okay. They are badly injured again, and they're picking up injuries left, right, and centre again. And their defence is struggling again. And interesting, this matchup, because the Bucs will attack where the Bills are weak. So I think the Bills will win the game. Listen, I think, let me get that out of the way first. I think the Bills are the better team. They'll win. The Bucs are in a bad division, and they're staying alive because they're in a bad division. And the Lions just monstered them last week. I mean, we thought it might be a bit closer than that, but the Lions were just by far the better team. And I think the Bills will show that again, especially on a Monday night. But the Bucs will score points. I think this has got a sneaky, high-scoring vibe about it. I think this could be like a 41-35, something like that. Like, I think both teams just go up and down. Because I don't think the Bills will really stop the Bucs, because I think Mike Evans will have a monster game. But I think the Bills will win, ultimately.
Dave?
So Baker's doubtful, which means he's carrying an injury, and he doesn't do very well when he's carrying an injury.
Agreed.
So, as far as I'm aware, Allen's actually fit and healthy at the moment. Yeah. Bill Allen. Yeah. So
not Josh Allen.
No, not Josh Allen. It's Bill Allen there.
In case anybody's wondering what's going on here, he lost the battle of the Josh Allens, and in Keno's brain, that means he lost for the second time. That means he's lost the right to his name. So Josh Allen, the quarterback,
one more forever, just temporarily.
So it's just right. Okay, so thanks for clarifying your completely batshit mental rule for us. It's very helpful. So essentially, he's Bill Allen until such a point as Dave decides that he can go back to being Josh Allen. But if he loses to defensive Josh Allen again, he's then Bill Allen for the rest of the time,
forever. No, he's fair though, right? I don't see how
I mean, it's
crazy.
a bit weird, but yeah, I'll go with it. Anyway, Bucks at Bills.
Bills, unfortunately.
This is why you come to Utter Punts, isn't it? It's the cutting insight, the exceptional analysis, and the one-word answers from Keno.
What do we always say about the Bucks? What have we said about the Bucks for 2 years? Come on, I always say it to you. We said it about when they played the Eagles and when we played the Lions. I said, don't go with them because they can't stop the run.
Yeah. What had going through my head was always back a bird team over a...
Always back a bird team over a cat team.
Over a cat team.
Never
and then I was trying to think whether Tampa Bay were a bird or a
team,
cat, but they're a pirate team. So they must have a parrot, and therefore that means that you should... No,
because this is a buffalo. So
buffalo
is a different herd animal. Is always stronger. Pack animals.
And well, what about so bird teams? Ravens, Falcons, Cardinals,
Seahawks. Yeah.
And somewhere. What about Buffalo? If a Buffalo Eagles, Buffalo. Yeah. Do Buffalo rank higher than all of those because they're a Buffalo?
No.
If they lose to the Bucks, because Buccaneers might have a gun.
Yeah, but there could be 100 Buffalo. So you know, it depends how many there are. So they tend to travel in packs. So Orchard Park, they're at home. There'll be more of them. They'll take down a pirate. Right?
I don't think they're packs. I think they're actually herds. I think you've already said it.
Yeah. Okay. So a herd of buffalo beats a travelling pirate. Yeah. If they're on the road, there's only one of them. You've got a chance.
So, but if they were on the pirate ship, they'd stand less of a chance because a buffalo on a pirate ship's a bit weird, isn't it?
Can't swim.
Lads, you know we're recording this.
Yeah, right? No. Look, I think this might be one of my favourite ever sections of Utter Punts. I don't know how it came about.
It's better than analysing the books again. Let's just move on.
What you can't go into is where does the Titan fit in, because fictional beings become really, really different.
Yeah.
And they lose.
So you know the Raiders. So are the Raiders another pirate team?
A fellow pirate team.
So we've got two pirate teams.
Never back them on the road. Yeah. Because
and what about what about the Giants then? Because Giant's technically a fictional character as well.
Creature, yeah.
Well, I'm medically a giant, so am I a mythical creature?
Yes, in many aspects.
Many ways.
You're a unicorn, Liam.
And there is. I mean, if there was a unicorns team, they would win.
Yeah,
they have the unicorn horn.
Still recording.
Yeah, no, it's great. And just for complete clarity on this point, essentially we got a little bit of time extra that I wasn't anticipating for us to have. So now we're playing this game. Vikings technically should go in the same boat as Bucks and Raiders because they're a seafaring race.
Yeah,
it just means Raider.
Yeah, so Vikings for me go into the pirate buccaneering category. As do the Patriots, believe it or not, because they are musket wielding Patriots. So never back any of them on the road because they used to be in a boat. And if ever have to travel over water, they're fine. So the Patriots will travel well to England and Germany when they play.
Well, I've got a question then. Why don't they sail? Why do they get a plane?
I think we're onto something.
Yeah, absolutely. Get them on an arc.
Well, I mean, the Vikings.
So what should the UK franchise be called? This is the question. What should the UK franchise be called?
No, hang on a second. We're going down a rabbit hole here, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Well, we don't want them to be a pirate, and you always back a bird team over a cat team.
What's unkillable?
The thing is, they're going to be playing Americans all the time.
The Cockney cockroaches. Is that what you're going with? I got a feeling.
No. You got to provoke with it. It's got to be something like the Redcoats. It has to be. The Redcoats are coming.
Redcoats are coming.
The Redcoats are coming.
Okay, now is definitely the time to move on to Bets and Train. Before we go any further and before Dave completely alienates us from any American audience that we've ever had.
Are we going Bills, are we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Bills? Bills, Dave?
Yeah, 100% the Bills.
Yeah, herd creature. Okay, bet. Dave, what have you got for us this week?
So, a quarterback double. Josh Allen.
Bill Allen,
yeah.
The linebacker or the quarterback?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
He did say quarterback.
I forget my own jokes.
He did say
anyway, Bill Allen, the quarterback.
Yeah. Bill, Josh Allen.
Once again, Lamar, who last week let me down by having a touchdown.
He's not running the ball.
He will be.
Okay. So there's your double.
You're not scoring enough points, and you've got to in this game. Probably.
You know how we've been speaking to you about doing your research and making sure that you got your stats and stuff right, Dave. Have you got the numbers for that, or are you just throwing it out there?
That is 4.12 to 1.
excellent behaviour. Did you just pluck that out of the
Absolutely.
sky?
Yeah, of course.
Knob. Dan, what have you got for us?
So, a couple of things. One, we've been doing a last man standing. So, last man standing is if you're in a league with a last man standing, you pick a team every week, and if they win, you go through.
You can't pick the same team twice, yeah.
And we are 6 for 6. We've got our teams all the way through. So, if you're still with us, great. We're going the Seahawks this week for the last man standing. My bet is the Lions to score over 15.5 points, the Chargers to score over 19.5 points, Seattle to win, and Buffalo to win. 3.5 to 1.
Cool. Jump on that one. It is time for the 2-minute warning, which means it is time for the Utter Punt of the Week nominations. Dave, you're in such a jolly mood. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. Awesome. Lane Johnson. I hate you. Basically, he's for those who don't know, he's the Eagles right tackle, and he got injured last week, and I was delighted because he's the best right tackle in the league. Clearly, he sprained his ankle, clearly going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, giving people an opportunity to do something about the Eagles' run game. Back training today.
Oh, no. Oh, it's devastating.
Punt of the week. How dare you be an indestructible human being? How dare you be a colossus? How dare you be a god among mere mortals? Get out of it.
Play for the Titans. Interesting as well. So Jason Kelce broke just on Dave's point of them being indestructible. Jason Kelce this week broke the all-time consecutive start record for the Eagles.
Wow.
Beating John Runyon, and he talked about it a little bit on his podcast. And he talked about John Runyon because he played with him. He played at the Eagles, and he said for a full season he had a broken tailbone. John Runyon, so he was a tackle, and he had a broken tailbone, so he could never sit on the bench. So when he used to come off the field, he used to walk up and down. He could never sit down. He had a broken tailbone.
Wow.
And he could play.
How nails is that?
Played 144 games.
144 games with a broken coccyx.
Yeah, incredible.
Wow. Who's your utter punt of the week, Dan?
I had a few. I've had to sort of trim it down a little bit, but I'm going to go for Mike McCarthy.
Oh, okay.
Because I think culture comes from its leader, right? So the culture of that Cowboys team comes from its coach, Mike McCarthy. And he's come out this week and said, why does Dak Prescott get more harsh criticism than everybody else? Why, when we lose, does everyone jump on us? And why does the Eagles lose? Nobody cares. It's because you call yourself America's team, Mike. So Micah Parsons on his podcast this week, and he's saying, it's not like when we lose. So he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got a chip on his shoulder because his coach has given him a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Get out there and play the game. Don't stick yourself on a pedestal and then cry when everyone throws cabbage at you. Punt.
I'm going Roger Goodell.
Okay.
He signed just because he signed a new contract. He signed a new contract, and that's enough for me to make him my nomination for utter punt of the week. I was, quietly hoping for some change at the head of the NFL. No such luck. Commissioner continues to be Roger Goodell, utter punt of the week.
But to be fair, his whole job is to be the front for the discipline that's laid out by the owners. So he is paid to be a punt.
And next week,
that's what he's there for.
Yeah, we've all been cancelled. Right, good. I think just for passion, we're giving that one to Dave this week. It's been an absolute pleasure, as it always is. Don't forget, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and come back and join us again next week. See you later, Dan.
See you later.
Goodbye, Dave.
Cheerio.
Cheerio yourself. See you later.